This is a very special item. Don't tell anyone about it, okay? And don't ever forget, child, you have very special eyes, so you didn't need to come all this way. You'll find what you're looking for. You'll find so many wonders, more fun than presents. After all, this world is full. So full of wonders and excitement. The first chapter of Hatori and Furuta begins with a young girl standing in the snow, meeting with the real Santa Claus, a dream come true for any kid, and her gift? A sock. Santa gives the poor girl a sock, and we didn't even get a ho 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 or Merry Christmas out of him, but he does promise that she'll one day see some extraordinary things later on in her life. Of course, this isn't the actual start of the story though. In the present time, the story really begins with Hatori, a high school student about to head to school in the morning when his guardian, who appears to be an uncle, tells him to just say yes to everything, even if it doesn't sound interesting at first, because it might lead to him finding something to finally be passionate about. On the first day of school, many of Hatori's classmates seem to already know each other, and they're planning to meet up after class and do karaoke as a way to get to know each other better. And Hatori is an attractive guy, and not many people know much about him, so the cute girl from the class invites him to join them. And of course, while this is happening, in the back of the classroom, another student is being invited also, but she declines, asking how on earth you're supposed to get to know anything about people during karaoke when you're all supposed to be singing, and it would be super weird to try and have conversations while it's someone else's turn to sing, which makes sense. Hatori, though, he does decide to go, and the song that he chooses to sing is a children's song. Everyone here obviously thinks it's super weird. Imagine a bunch of your classmates and stuff hanging out, wanting to build relationships with the cute girls and, hang out after school or whatever. They're building their new high school relationships, and one of the guys that got invited starts singing The Wheels on the Bus. And of course, even though most guys will be embarrassed to sing a kiddie song, Hatori doesn't half-ass it, and he sings his heart out, which is, kind of even more weird in this case, but he's self-aware enough to know that he threw the vibe off. But it's all good. That cute classmate from before, she catches up to him while he's heading home after she ditched the after party because she wants to walk with him, and you can tell that she's really feeling him. He's got that tall, quiet, mysterious guy energy to him, and she obviously wants a piece of that. She tries to butter him up with compliments and praises about how he's so different from the other guys, like Suzuki, who keeps submitting jokes to his favorite radio show even though he's been rejected over and over, and Yamada, who cried when his baseball team lost in the prefectural tournament. But to Hatori, he actually envies those guys because they all have something that they're passionate about, whereas he doesn't. Even the song he chose to sing isn't one that he really likes, it's just the one he sung the most as a kid. It isn't until Hatori notices a dead raccoon laying in the street with its guts hanging out that his classmate decides it's time to finally head out after, being disgusted by the sight, and Hatori goes over to grab it and picks it up out of the road. And it's at this moment where the story truly begins. The other classmate from before that declined the invitation to karaoke sees Hatori from the other side of the street, and out of impulse, she just runs right into the road towards Hatori and gets Yusuke Urameshi'd by Truck-kun. I'm just kidding. She survives, but in one of the weirdest ways ever. She dives headfirst into her sock. As Hatori stands there dazed, confused, and unable to believe his own eyes, she pops back out of that sock asking why he's holding a dead raccoon, as if that's somehow a more pressing question than how the hell did you just jump into your sock? The two kids bury the raccoon, and Furuta tells Hatori the story of how she came to get this magical sock with unlimited storage. When Furuta was a young girl, she got fed up with Santa not paying a visit to her house, even though she had been a good girl, and she managed to make her way all the way to Finland, because that's apparently where Santa Claus lives, to question him. But he was all out of gifts when she made it, and so he just gave her a magical sock instead and told her to keep it a secret. Hatori is envious because everyone around him seems to have something that they're passionate about. The kids from school with their obsessions, Furuta with her adventure to confront Santa, and even the roadkill raccoon from the street who had been so obsessed with whatever it saw on one side of the road that it ran into the street and got himself run over. He feels jealous that others have things that they want so bad that they're willing to risk their lives for, and Furuta, wanting to test him, tells him that it's time to put his money where his mouth is. She gives him a list of things to do before midnight. The list of things Hatori has to do consists of a bunch of silly stuff like wrestle a Kappa statue in the park and pretend to get tossed on the ground, bend over and look at Mount Nagi through his legs, and then go to the Izayoi tunnel without looking back, and then he'll arrive at Furuta's secret place. Hatori knows that at the end of the tunnel, there's a glass bridge made for people to look through while they're walking, so he's not really expecting much. But when he gets to the end of the tunnel, he finds out the world has been inverted. He now stands at the top of this tunnel while the bridge is above him, and when he tosses his flashlight, it floats into the sky below him. But up above, Furuta is sitting on the bottom side of this glass bridge waiting for him. Hatori doesn't realize she's left a way for him to climb up, so he nearly gets himself killed trying to reach the bridge. But she saves him by bungee jumping and scooping him up in that sock of hers, and then the kids enjoy a beautiful night sky, which is actually presented with a fantastic color page with the moon and the stars beneath them as they lay on this transparent bridge. After seeing such an incredible sight, Hatori asks her if she would show him other fascinating things like this, and now the main plot of the story has fallen into place. These two kids go on adventures searching for wondrous things around their city. Most of them require some weird set of things to happen before they can be triggered, and after they leave the scene, those incredible things vanish. Turns out Furuta not only has this special sock, but she also has special eyes that allow her to see supernatural things. Not to 100% accuracy though. They mostly let her know something fishy is upon them, so it's kind of like a paranormal metal detector that doesn't exactly pinpoint where things are, but it kind of lets you know when you're in the vicinity. Because of her eyes and her special findings disappearing after she finds them, she never had been able to show anyone. She would often try and find something and then try to show her friends afterwards, and they would call her a liar because the thing would have disappeared by the time they got there. And so she decides to just do everything alone until she met Hatori, the boy with no drive besides wanting to find something to be passionate about. It's a supernatural coming of age story that reminds me a lot of other manga like Dandadan, the way it follows a young boy and girl doing their own sort of occult searching, mythbustery adventures, minus the weird sexual tension that Dandadan sometimes splashes in. Reading this manga also reminded me of a lot of things like when I was a kid playing Pokemon in Generation 1 when I found out about the missing no, or heard about the many rumors like the Mew hidden under the truck in Vermilion City. For any of my fellow listeners who are 30 plus in age, there's probably some people out there about to erase their comments that they typed after thinking I wouldn't mention it, but Bug Ego by One also has a very similar vibe with the whole paranormal life hack stuff, where if you do a bunch of weird things like brushing your teeth counterclockwise for 5 minutes on a Tuesday night before going to bed at exactly 11:59, you'll have full control over your dreams. That's the kind of sort of stuff that happens in this manga, but not to that extent. Hatori and Furuta's extraordinarily ordinary life is really short since it only started about 5 or 6 weeks ago at the time of this recording, but the kids immediately hit it off and become friends who understand each other. I'm not sure if there's any plan for there to be any actual romance, but I wouldn't hate it personally. So far, the kids have wandered into an abandoned batting cage that was rumored to fire invisible baseballs. They've eaten food that was cooked in a vending machine by a chef who was just a ghost hand that immediately reminded me of the hand in the toilet side quest from The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, again if anyone is old as hell. And they've also met some sort of alien insect dog thing with 6 legs. I don't know. Like I said, there aren't many chapters yet, but it's a Jump Plus series, and in the latest chapter, this duo is introduced to some sort of paranormal vigilante Ghostbusters force who seems to work under Santa Claus. Sounds like Santa is running some sort of supernatural task force, but I don't know. We'll see soon. I'm not gonna lie though, I wasn't expecting anything that's happened so far, but there being some sort of super secret society of people hunting down mysterious happenings in a town was something I've kind of been wanting to see in Dandadan for a long time, and so I'm really excited to see where it will go with this story. If you're looking for something short and fun to get into where romance might one day bloom, and you're into the whole occultic mythbuster style fun that you get from Dandadan and Bug Ego, this might be something worth checking out. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you're new here, like and subscribe. Peace.